everybody, welcome back to Inside the Music, and this is the second episode number 2 of Let's Talk Music, and today I have my good friend Nate Wycoff, aka Nathaniel Roland, who has something new to share with us, and I'll let him take it from here to explain exactly what he accomplished. And we're going to talk about how he accomplished it as well, too. So
you're making me explain it. Oh, that's the tough part.
Yeah, well, you're the one who did it.
I wrote a concept album, kind of. It's like a tribute to 1980s horror movies. So it's very synthy, kind of like The Fog or Christine, that kind of stuff. And then I also liked like Pulp Fiction soundtrack or stuff from the 90s. They would always put scenes from the movies right into the soundtrack. So I liked how they did that, and I had to go and create some scenes and like a whole villain for this horror movie. And it just turned into this big concept where I had an entire plot for this horror movie that was happening basically in my mind. And then scored the movie. And then decided that that wasn't good enough, that it needed a visual representation. And I did a comic book for it. So yeah, it was ambitious, I guess. I don't know. It's out there. It's weird. Everyone's like, well, your album is really interesting. And like, that's all I get out of people. Like, okay, so it sucks.
No, it doesn't suck. No, I've heard it. So absolutely not. And now we got everyone's attention as to what you have accomplished. Please, and we'll have the information down below in the description as well too.
Like
there you go.
Actual comic book. Even
the actual comic book.
Printed. You can order sea monkeys.
Now, for those youngsters that don't know about the sea monkey thing, that was the thing back in the 70s and 80s. I'm not even certain if it was in the 80s, but I know for a fact it was in the 70s.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you could order all sorts of stuff out of the 80s comic
out of the comic books, right? So I think you could order the little green soldiers as well too, and
army men,
and the other things too.
Howard the Duck comic book over here. I could check.
Awesome. So down below in the descriptions, you will be able to find all of his information where you can find the SoulKeeper and all of his other music that he has written. Not just this stuff he has got. He also has really good music out as well too. That has vocals on it and some other things too. So
yeah, I've got a kind of a wide variety out there, don't I?
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Kind of explain, like I have like 2 different sounds. I have like the dark and broody kind of a Tom Waits, Mark Lanigan type of thing going on, swampy and bluesy rock, but weird and off the wall a little bit. And that's like one side of my music. And then I have like this even weirder, like instrumental kind of thing that I do. It's just like shorter songs and shorter albums. So like the Prairie Dogs Have Plague albums are like 20 minutes long and kind of flow into each other. It's like just weird little instrumental stuff that you can't really, like, if I was like Nirvana or someone like Oasis or something, you can't do that weird stuff.
No.
Like that.
Or like my music.
Songs with lyrics and what people want. Mine's more like Phantomos, if you've ever heard of them.
Nope, I can say I haven't heard of them.
Mike Patton from Faith No More.
Okay.
King Bozzo from the Melvins.
Okay.
And Dave Lombardo, I think, on drums.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, this heavy metal noise, but a lot of the songs are like 20 seconds long, and it's just them going that's the whole song right there.
That's the appropriate music for TikTok, because that's all the attention span most people have for TikTok is 2 to 20 seconds, and that's like so.
I was running into trouble like trying to release stuff, and it's like, you have to have more than 59 seconds or something. I'm like, oh, crap. So now when I switch to DistroKid, it's everything has to be under or average more than a minute.
Right.
That out.
Yeah. But you know that attention span of we're on TikTok and now we're on Facebook too with the reels and stuff. You know, people just swipe, 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 swipe,
Oh
swipe,
yeah. Yep.
swipe, 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 swipe. You know, and it's kind of worrisome because it's I think it's kind of screwing with everyone's mind as far as like, you know, what
Sure.
is, you know, I don't know
Instant
where I'm going with this, but
gratification,
you know
like
what I
move
mean?
on. Like if I don't get the instant gratification, I keep
Right.
swiping, keep
Yeah,
scrolling and
exactly.
scrolling.
Which leads me back to a movie, and I can't remember the title, but it's where he goes back or he gets sent to the future and everyone's dumb. They
Oh, Idiocracy.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
that's kind of where we're heading with all this, you know, it's some truth behind that movie. And if you haven't
Totally.
seen it, everyone check
I
it out. It's
don't want
great.
to go too into like that one. Like, oof, that one's scary. We're
Yeah.
heading there. We are heading there, or maybe already there. I'm not sure.
Right, right, right. And I think we talked about this before in our last time we talked to each other.
Yeah.
So,
President Camacho.
yes. I mean, they forgot how to grow stuff. That's how bad it
Yeah.
got.
Got electrolytes. It's what plants crave.
Right, exactly.
You mean put
So,
water on it, like stuff out of the toilets? Yeah.
oh my gosh. So, let's get back to your SoulKeeper. I want
Yes.
to know, I know you kind of touched briefly on it, but the inspiration behind it because you are a big movie buff, uh, you know, from our last conversation we had. So was your maybe your childhood or something like that maybe had some influences on what you
Um,
watched back in the 80s and you know.
maybe a little bit. One of my best friends was a huge horror movie fan, and like I'd never really listened to like a soundtrack, like the score soundtrack, and he had John Carpenter's Halloween, and
Mhm.
just loved the hell out of it. Like listen to that all the time. Roll around in Halloween, of course, listening to it, but huge, huge horror movie fan. And he passed in 2011, but you know, he totally turned me on to the to John Carpenter stuff. And then like the Fog, I think he had
Mhm.
that one too. And just I thought it was the coolest thing, these soundtracks. And we watched the movies, of course. And then last summer, another buddy of mine came over and he's like, "Oh, you got to check out this album by Goblin. They did the score for Dawn of the Dead from like was it 1985 or something." And we sat and listened to it and just like totally geeked out over it. And like a month or two later, I picked up a Behringer synth, the Pro 800. It's like a sequential Prophet clone. It's a analog synthesizer,
Mhm.
and I was just kind of messing around with it, like learning how to use the sequencer. And some of those, I just like recorded some of it too. And some of those turned out to be the songs that are on the SoulKeeper album. Just me learning how to use this sequencer and playing with the sounds, and like
Well,
I
that's
found
cool.
the synthesizer that inspiring that I almost like pretty much almost every song on the album has the Pro 800 on it.
That's awesome. So
Yeah.
so it actually took you back in your time to those memories of that, you know, that era
Yeah. Yep.
to represent what you put out. That's cool. You know,
Yeah,
so
it was neat.
all those things we do as human beings somehow come back in the music world anyway. You know, whether it's writing lyrics or, you know, or even what you just did, you know, did with the new Behringer or that unit you bought from Behringer,
Yeah.
you know, it brought back something and sounded familiar and struck a bell with you and you
Yeah, and then
know,
I was like, well,
inspired you for it.
I'm gonna write a soundtrack to a horror movie that doesn't exist. That was my initial idea. And
Right,
then I was
right.
like, make everybody think that this movie was put out in the early 80s and it'll, people be looking for the movie on Google and they won't find it. Ha 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 ha. And like that's the way my mind works. Ooh, cough.
Learn all that. That's
Yeah.
um so my next question would be for you then how did you come up with the artwork and then how did you match the music toward it? How did you work that out for this?
Oh, I pictured Lee Van Cleef as the villain. He's from movie like The Good and the Bad and the Ugly with Clint Eastwood,
Right,
the guy in the black hat.
right.
And I used him like his silhouette as um kind of inspiration on some of my previous artwork, and kind of carried that over into this one. And then as I was writing the album, I was kind of creating some of the art to go along with it. I used generative AI to do it.
Hmm.
And then I would generate it and edit it in Photoshop. I'm a graphic designer and artist for the last 30 years. So I heavily edited it and started turning it into what I wanted it. And then like I was gonna like my original idea was like I'm gonna use these in like videos to promote the album when it's done or whatever. And then eventually the comic book idea came into play. So
And then how did you come up with the storyline for the comic book?
that was just kind of brewing as I was creating the album. I'd be like, okay, well, here's the part where I picture, the SoulKeeper coming to this town of Sandwater. I had this song called Sandwater, and then it turned into now the song is called The Town of Sandwater Cove. And it was just like this ambient guitar thing. And then I added a bunch of weird synths, and there's like someone screaming very, very quietly in the background, but it almost sounds like it's part of the synth. So
Hmm.
it's a little eerie. Um, but yeah, I just like as I'm writing these songs, a picture would kind of come into my head of, okay, maybe this is the part where it's called Lover's Lane, and there's a car parked over here, and maybe the Soul Keeper's watching from the bushes or something like that. Just these like little pictures would pop into my head. That's where I went with it.
So I've never ever even fathomed to write anything like that before, music wise. So to hear your the way you went about it is similar to what I go through when I actually just write a normal, what I call a normal song,
Yeah.
verse, chorus, whatever. And so but there's no way in hell I could do anything like you did.
Yeah, my
I'm
mind
not
is a
versed
strange
enough to do
place,
anything like
man.
that, man. I
Don't
mean,
get
that's
lost inside my mind. It's
did
scary.
you score this out as well too, or did you?
Yeah, all the music is
Wow.
everything from like me screwing around and
Right.
coming up with the ideas, or like I need this kind of a sound for this part of the plot. I had a like my director's cut of the album is well over an hour long,
Hmm.
and like that only 45 minutes like actually made it out to the final version. But like I had a part where there's like gonna be a computer nerd, and he's gonna hack the mainframe of the town or the school or something, right? And I had this like like synth stuff going on, and it's just like these little plot points were all just kind of coming together along the way. So
Wow.
like I'm sure like that's what happened to Queensryche when they wrote Operation Mindcrime, right?
I'm sure.
There's gonna be this guy, Dr. X.
Right, right. And I need you to talk these lyrics for the beginning opening part of this song.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
James.
the Who had a concept album too, I believe, right? Didn't
Yeah,
Tommy
I
Boy
was
or Tommy wasn't that a?
Tommy. They did a couple of concepts, right? Like because Tommy was one, and then they were doing one called Lifehouse, but then that turned into Who's Next, I think.
Hmm.
Thought that was gonna, I think maybe Who's Next is the concept album. I'm not
I
quite
think
sure.
I think I think you're right on that. I think that's the one that was the
So
actual
something
concept.
like that.
Yeah,
So
because I someone just recently did a video in regards to them.
that was Warren, I
Yeah,
believe.
okay,
Yep.
there you go. It was Warren.
Warren.
Who's Warren?
Yeah. Mr. Produce Like a Pro. And then of
Yes.
course you got like the Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, and Animals, and what's the other one? Oh, The Wall, right? Like those are huge concept
Yeah, but
albums.
those guys don't know what they're doing.
No, no, not at all.
Not at all, not at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, to be able to accomplish something like what Pink Floyd did with that, it's probably the best concept album ever done.
Yeah, I mean The
You
Wall.
know,
I mean that was probably a big inspiration too, because I mean there's bits of dialogue happening
right,
throughout the
right,
whole album, and
right.
it kind of happens in the SoulKeeper too, where it's bits of dialogue or cuts from like a movie in the background or whatever. So
I mean, that's so cool, man, that you able to to accomplish this.
thank you.
What other things do you have in the future lined up for your bucket list of things to accomplish? Anything else
Um,
movie wise or
Not movie wise. I mean, I do have like
comic book or
um, if I was gonna do another, I have a couple ideas for little concept albums like this. I don't know that I would take it as far as the SoulKeeper, because I feel like it took a lot out of me to, kind of weird to say that, but to do this album, I was very not obsessed, but more like possessed to finish it at one point. But the couple other ideas I have are like I'd like to do like kind of a Western type one, because I do have kind of a cowboy swampy sound. I think that would
hmm
lend
Yeah.
itself really well to that kind of a like spaghetti Western.
hmm
And then my other idea was sci-fi.
Awesome.
Yep. Or combine the two and
Oh
do like
yeah. Like
sci-fi
space cowboy
Western
type.
slash kung fu movie. Yeah. But
I-
that
I-
one could get really weird. I mean,
Well, sometimes it's the ones that go off to right field somewhere that are the ones that actually stick, so
yeah,
you never know. The weirder,
yeah.
I mean, look at Bruce Willis movie, oh, God darn it, something five or something like that, where uh, he's like a taxi driver, and it's in the future. They have these
Oh,
really
The Fifth Element.
there you go, The Fifth Element. I
That
mean, that
movie's
movie right
awesome.
there was in right field all the whole entire time. Uh,
Chris Tucker in that movie
yeah,
is
Chris Tucker is
so
hilarious
awesome.
in that movie, man.
Yeah.
You didn't know quite where he was. Was he this side of this or that side, if you know what I mean?
Yeah. Good
So
guy, bad guy. You don't know.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Anti-hero.
Yeah, it was just great. And that was a movie I remember growing up, watching that movie. And then whenever it comes on, I have to sit down and watch at least a little bit of it, which we
Yeah.
did a couple weeks ago because it came on one of the movie stations.
Cool.
So, and my wife goes, "Why do you watch this all the time?" I go, "First off, it's got Bruce Willis."
That scene with the opera singer, the alien
Yeah,
opera
yeah,
singer,
uh-huh.
that's so cool. I remember watching a like it was like a making of thing of like how they did that, because
hmm
she like singing those like crazy high pitches and
Right.
like harmonizing with herself, and there was like a little studio thing that's out there
hmm
that's kind of interesting about how they did that whole part.
So
Sure,
I
a
always
fond
wondered
memory.
if that was generated or did she actually. I was always wondering how could she
I
sing
think they
something like
used some
that?
auto tune and type
Tape,
effects to,
right, right,
yeah,
because that was the way she did everything.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, maybe she did it. I don't know. That was something else.
yeah. It was like a long time since I've seen that, but
Right,
it'd be kind of
right.
interesting to go back now. The studio things going on for the last like 10 years for me or whatever. Like I've learned a lot about audio production. It'd be fun to go back and rewatch that.
Yeah, yeah, it would be. It'd be interesting to check it out.
For sure.
So, but is there anything else you want to touch base on with your with the comic book? Anything else you want to throw out there? Why don't you give them a link as tell them where you can find it. And like I said, they will be down below as well too. Below.
Nadermusic.com is where you can find everything of mine.
That's right.
Links to everything on streaming and downloadable albums, and you can download the comic book for free on my website as well.
Why don't you
So
spell that out for them? So
Nater
there you go. Okay.
music.com.
There you go.
You can just look down below, flashing
Exactly.
link. Nader music.
I'll do that. I'll put a boop 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 boop.
Cool.
Absolutely. So, all right, Nate. Well, I appreciate you getting back on here with me and
I
talking.
got a question for you.
Sure.
What
Okay.
have you been
Yeah.
listening to
Shoot.
lately? Are you listening to anything new? You listening to old stuff? Like what's on your playlist lately?
You know, I'll be honest. As much as I do music, I don't listen to a lot of music. I really don't because,
All right.
um, when I'm driving somewhere, sure, the kids are in the car and it's basically the new stuff that I have no idea who people are.
Sure. Yep.
And they're like, Dad, this is the latest and the greatest. And I'm like,
Sure it is.
not for
Yeah.
me. It's not. I mean, what everyone's doing nowadays is great. I mean, they're super talented people, way more than me because they're making money at it. I'm not. But
Money
honest,
doesn't equal talent, though. I
well,
mean,
that's
honestly,
true. That's
just listen
true.
to Kanye West. Oh, listen to Coldplay.
Ooh.
Wait, what? No, he didn't say that out loud.
Yeah,
Never
yeah. But
say.
I honestly, I don't really listen to a lot of the modern day music,
Yeah,
and if I do listen to it on the drive, it's going to be something from Judas Priest, to Triumph to AC/DC.
yeah,
I'm going back to the stuff that I
cool.
know.
Cool.
That's who I am. Roots, roots, roots.
Cool.
You know, I don't even care for any of the new heavy stuff. I'm not. I go back as far as back as I go. Will probably be like maybe 2008, 2010.
Sure.
Every once in a while something new will come out from an older band that, oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm not into the screaming crap. I don't like any of that.
They even
Um,
put out that stuff anymore? I don't know. No, I'm kidding.
I don't know. That's a
No,
good
I see it.
question.
There's a lot of new bands out there that are good and they're, out
Yeah.
there doing the thing. I think that's great. Good for them.
Right, right,
But
right,
it's like, yeah, like now that I'm like getting older, it's mellowing out a bit too. Like,
right,
don't listen to heavy metal quite as much as I used to.
right.
I went to Metallica last. Wait, yeah, that was this summer,
Hmm.
a couple months ago. So that was pretty cool. I kind
Yeah,
of resurged it a little bit, listened to some Pantera and Metallica.
yeah. That's some stuff that get you going and get your blood boiling, man. That's
Yeah.
what I like about it. And even so, I with my wife singing and stuff, I'm a country guy, and actually I've been a country guy for all my life. Kenny Rogers, going back that far, and
Johnny Cash.
Roy Clark, I mean, all these, yeah,
Yeah.
Cash, of course, but I don't, I'm not liking the new country stuff. Is getting to be too poppy. It's getting to be too ridiculous, and it's getting into that almost I
It's
don't
like
know
a
what you,
formula.
yeah,
Insert name of pickup truck here. Insert name of favorite beer here.
yeah, but I don't know. I got to listen to a gentleman who I'll be interviewing next month actually, and he got to produce a record, and I got to hear some of it, and it's the old school stuff that I grew up with, and I think it's fantastic. And it even has, I think, what they're called a mouth harp, where they go doing, doing,
Oh
doing.
yeah. Yep. Mouth
Even
harps.
has that. Now, how often do you get to hear a mouth harp anymore? You don't. And
I've
it's
got
stuff
one
like,
on one of my songs.
do you?
Listen to Intermission Part One off
Hmm.
of Phoenix of Tragedy. I played a mouth harp.
Awesome.
It's not the easiest to play. So
No.
like, it looks like it'd be easy, but my cheek and jaw were sore from after doing it. Like, oh man,
But it's
tired out.
it's it's that stuff and the old concept uh stuff I like. To
You ever
hear
listen
that
to
type of
Coulter Wall?
no.
Ooh,
But
check him out. If
I
you've
have
watched
heard of his name, but I'm
Yellowstone,
sure I have. I'm sure I
if you've
have.
watched Yellowstone, that show,
Sure,
there's a
sure.
couple of his songs on there.
I've for certain I've heard of his stuff, but I just don't
You'd
know it.
dig it. You'd dig
Yeah.
it. I'll send you a couple of songs.
Okay.
Use Spotify or Tidal or something or
I prefer, believe it or not,
YouTube.
I really prefer YouTube music. That's
Sure.
my, yeah. It,
Cool.
I don't know about you, but to me, when you start listening to something on YouTube, they seem to grasp the concept of what actual music you're actually like. To where
Oh, sure.
Spotify,
You still get
it
like
makes
recommended rap songs.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. When you're not listening to rap, you don't want rap recommended rap songs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I wish Tidal was like that a little bit more too.
So you,
Recommend the styles I like instead of
yeah,
just what everyone else is listening to because I don't
right,
give a shit what
right,
everyone else
right.
is
Yeah,
listening to.
exactly. I mean, our music's more or less on the country Fleetwood Mac type
Mhm.
style. And
Yeah.
so they actually pair it with that kind of music. And it's great. Where I
Cool.
don't know why Spotify can't seem to do that.
Get your algorithms straight, man.
Yeah,
Spot-
exactly. YouTube, you have it done right. I really do
yeah.
believe it. So
I'd say Spotify used to be so cool, but you never were because you never paid your artists right. So
no, no, and the original one for me was Pandora. That was my original, streaming service. And I don't know what happened to it. I just
it's around still.
I know they're around still, but I don't know why I stopped listening to it. I don't,
Oh,
there was
yeah.
some, I don't know if they tried to go to a paid platform and that may be why I stopped or something came
I
free.
think they still have a free version, but it's probably got ads or something, right?
Yeah,
Everything's got
something
ads.
turned me off on it and I went
Sure.
away from it, but I don't know.
Right on.
Who knows? So, but yeah, it's, music. Music is it's great. A lot of fingers, a lot of avenues you can go down. Always something. But again, like I said, it's so consuming in my life that sometimes you just got to take a, breather from it, listen to talk radio.
Well, it's not just like, okay, so you're the musician, but then you're also the musician, the songwriter, the producer, the
Right,
recording engineer, the mixing
right.
engineer, the mastering engineer. Oh, and then when you're done with all that, you're also, you have to create some graphics, create some cover art,
Yep.
create videos. Like you have to wear all these different hats. And I think that that's what wore me out after this last
Yeah.
album. It's like I'm doing videos, I'm doing a comic book, I made a whole bunch of like different products. There's underwear, there's coffee mugs, like
Yeah.
I went crazy on this one and
Right.
then like I burnt myself out and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
is this what I want to be doing? Like I'd rather be at my
Right.
desk making music with
And
the little bit of energy that I do have.
right. And we talked about before we got on here, how you kind of go artist, us being artists and what we do, we dubbed it pad.
Oh yeah, the the
Where you go through a
post
little depression
album
afterwards, post
depression.
album
Yeah.
depression.
Yep.
So, and it's true. It's true. We work so hard on something, and then, it for me, I think the biggest disappointment is when you work so hard on something, you think you really got something good, and then it just goes,
Oh, like no one listens type
no
of.
one
Yeah.
listens to it. But
I mean, there's so much that goes into that because there's the algorithms that we were just talking about a minute
right,
ago,
right,
and then
right,
there's your own promotion, whether you have
right,
enough of an audience already, or if you use the right hashtags to get some views on the
right,
TikTok
right,
or whatever. And I mean, there's just so much that goes into it, and it's all stacked against you because
right.
you're like me, I'm not paying for any advertising,
No,
so
me either.
they algorithms on like Facebook are not going to show your stuff just simply
No.
because of that.
Right. And I've tried that. I went down that rabbit hole of trying the advertisement on
Mhm.
Facebook and got absolutely nothing for the money I
Yeah.
spent. It
No.
was, ridiculous. Um, so yeah, I stopped doing that.
Well, and it's even worse now with all there's like hacking going on. My wife was
Is
doing
that
some
right?
advertising. Yeah, she advertised for her yoga studio and um like all of a sudden there was someone that had connected an Instagram page to her
Oh
business
yeah.
account somehow and then spent like about $100 in ads and there's no way to like
No.
challenge that. There's no
Mm-mm.
people that work at Facebook. It's all bots.
Right. I
You
know.
can't really like
Yeah,
how do you
you go into
challenge?
their meta area, and in order to try to
Most
find somebody to work with you in their meta area, it's like you
no
can't.
support.
There's no support. It
She's
sends
actually
you to
lost like two accounts in the last two
right.
or three accounts over the last few years because of
Yeah.
hacking and
Yeah.
two-factor authentication.
Yeah. and,
Oh,
and and now they have those stupid morons that go on there and attach their stupid T-shirts and stuff, to
yeah.
everyone's account. Man, and
They're
then
like,
you report
I'm in
them.
a couple of muscular dystrophy groups, and they'll be like, my son has muscular dystrophy, and you made this T-shirt, and someone made fun of him. Go buy his T-shirt. Show him that he's not, whatever. Like, report to admin right there because you're full of
Yeah,
shit. I've seen
yeah,
this post by 3 other people. So,
right, right. Yeah, it's ridiculous, and like you said, I've reported him. I have one friend of mine. He's constantly hit by this, and it constantly comes up on my page, and I'm getting sick and tired of seeing this stupid thing come up. you know. At first it was funny, I said, "Oh, yeah, dude." He run on there, "Don't buy any. This isn't me." And I went back on there. "Oh, so I'm not going to get the G-string underwear that had your face on it."
that's awesome.
And he wrote back laughing, and he said, "No, you're not, unfortunately." So, but yeah, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of all that stuff that goes on by people that think it's funny or whatever. I don't know. You know, it's
Scammers.
Yeah, they
Eh,
are exactly right.
well,
So, but
two
yep.
old guys yelling at clouds. That's what this segment should be called now. Two old guys. Back in my day, you didn't need a
Get off
blowtorch.
my yard. Get off my lawn. I haven't quite gotten that old yet, but yeah, there will become a day. I told my kids, I said, you know what when I'm ready to go is when I get to start yelling at the kids, "Get out my yard."
Yeah.
So, yep, that's a good idea. That's a good one to call it.
Oh.
So, what else you got going on today?
I'm gonna just rest and relax, I think, after this.
Yeah,
So
good. Much deserved. Much
yeah.
deserved.
Yeah, it's been a rough week. So
Yeah, I gotta go get the kids lunch, and I didn't feel like making them lunch this morning, so now I gotta go buy them lunch and take it to them because their food sucks at the
I
school.
suppose, yeah.
Yeah, you spend a fortune, they only get like a little bit of food, and it's like, come on, it's ridiculous. So it's better for me to go to Wendy's and get them a biggie bag,
Sure. Oh,
you
cool.
know, and do that.
Frosty sounds good right about now. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, it does, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Are you participating in trick or treating? You guys get a lot of trick or treaters tomorrow? No?
We will get zero. We are
Yeah.
like 8 miles from town out in the country.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, our nearest neighbor's like 150, 200 yards away. So
Oh, nice.
yeah,
Yeah, and we have a nice little community here where we live, but it's more older people, or it was more known as at back in 10 years ago for older people.
sure.
So we get zero people come down our street, and
I think the kids would
so
want to like go get some candy corn or whatever the old people give away. Apples, right? No wonder they don't
yes,
come around.
yeah,
This is
but
crap. I
yeah,
want
my
Snickers.
my kids will go up to the area where they hand out the big candy bars and the whole thing.
Yeah, the rich neighborhoods. This is where you got to go. The nice big
Exactly.
houses with the nice cars in the driveway. That's where we'd always take our kids is to the nicer neighborhoods. And
Yep.
all right,
Hmm.
guys, here you go. Well, we're gonna, just drop you off here. We'll pick you up in an hour, or they would
Yep.
just go out and roam around. But
Yep.
now they're all old enough. They don't trick or treat. My
No, I
youngest
think
is
this might be the last.
23. So
No, okay. Now it's all about the parties. It's going to the parties at that age.
yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I think this might be the last year for my kids. They're 14, so they're going as minions actually. So
Oh, cool. I was just gonna
it's
ask what they
it's
are.
hilarious, man. It's they got the
That's
goggles
cool.
and the whole thing. And they're girl,
Cool.
so they're going as the girl minions. So they got little
Cool.
skirts, and it's
Nice.
hilarious. Age appropriate, although. So
One of my favorite costumes when I was a kid was my mom made me a Jawa costume.
oh,
It's
awesome.
like she made it out of like potato sacks or burlap sack or something, and then painted my face black, and
Hmm.
then she got these glasses with two little lights and painted the lights red. It was perfect.
Oh man, that's sweet.
I wish we had a picture of that. It was like the best costume ever. Like
Yeah.
probably like that tall, like Jawa height. Oh, check this out. I forgot to show you this.
Oh, nice.
That's a 1936.
Is that a Gretsch?
It's a dobro,
Dobro. Oh my
actual
God.
dobro.
Where'd you get that
That is on loan from a family friend. So it was
at?
her dad's, and she wants me to like make a bunch of music with it. So one of the radio bits on my album is that guitar and me.
Awesome. Awesome. Does it have that kind of banjo-ish texture to it?
A little bit, not so no twangy like a banjo, but
Right.
it resonates really well because it's got that metal
Sure.
hub pretty much
Okay.
on it.
It
So
it's funny because when you think of guitar, you don't really think of it as a percussion instrument, but it is.
sure. Yeah.
It is. And so when you change the top on things, it changes the tonality.
Yep. Yeah, the
And
reason
you
they
know,
started doing that was for the volume. They were trying to compete with the rest of the band.
hmm
And then like this was right before amplifiers were right around the time
right, right,
amplifiers. So that's why they started putting the resonators on there.
right. And have you ever played a banjo? Do you know what a
No,
banjo
that's
is?
like a guitar banjo.
Yep.
Yeah. So
It
it's like
sounds
fretted like a guitar, it's strung like a guitar, but sounds like a banjo.
exactly.
Cool.
And it's all just because they put that darn uh you know different top on it that
It's like
gives
a
it that.
snare drum
Yeah,
type
yeah,
of thing. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
I have a banjo, but I don't play it much. I need to pull that out some more.
I've never played a banjo and I wouldn't have any idea how to even go about it.
It's fun. Like the first time I played it, of course, you're gonna learn ding 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 ding
Yeah, of
ding.
course. You
That's
gotta
the
have
first
that.
thing you're gonna learn.
Right,
And then
right.
the next thing I learned was the Rainbow Connection, the Kermit the Frog.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then I
Those,
forgot him as soon as I like put the banjo down, like didn't pick it up for a year. Then I'm like, oh, I don't know how to play this anymore.
yeah. Who always blows me away is Steve Martin.
Yes, I knew you were gonna say that. Yep.
Yeah, I am he's so talented in his acting and his musicianship. It's
Yep.
unbelievable when he pulls up that damn banjo.
Yeah.
And I thought he was just gonna screw around, but no, he can
Rips on
play the
that
damn
thing.
fucking
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like when you're a kid, you're like you watch Smokey and the Bandit, and then you learn that the fuck what's his name, Jerry Reed,
yeah, yeah,
Snowman.
yeah,
He's a ripper on guitar too.
yeah,
Oh cow.
exactly. Yeah,
Yep.
and he sang well too.
Yeah. Yep.
So I think
Pick
that's
out
him
my
actually.
anus.
Yeah, I think that's him actually singing the Bandit song. Isn't that
Yeah,
him? That, yeah,
Eastbound and Down. Yeah, that's
right,
Jerry Reed's
right.
song.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah,
Another
yeah.
awesome banjo song right there.
hmm
I'm gonna have to listen to that one later.
And kids, if you haven't seen that movie, the original Smokey and the Bandits, they're great.
Did they remake that?
No, and I hope they don't. Because there's
Yeah.
some movies you should not remake.
I don't think you could recapture like who
No,
would be the bandit these days?
no,
Chris
no.
Pratt, you know? Oh, what's the one that played the raccoon on Bradley Cooper?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know if he's got enough swagger though.
No, no. There's
He
something about
played
Burt Reynolds.
he
Something
played a
about
good
Burt
face
Reynolds.
though.
Yeah,
Face for the A team.
right, right. And then
Hey,
who would
I
you
think
put
we've
as?
talked more about movies and TV than we did music this time, man.
But no, we had music involved with it. We had,
Yeah.
Jerry Reed.
Yeah.
So I just the two go hand in hand a lot, so that's okay. I like movies. I got my kids to watch Smokey and the Bandit and they loved them.
Speaking
We
of
watched
kids
two of them.
watching movies, did you get them to watch the UHF movie? Or did
No,
you
I haven't gone
It's
down that
on
road yet.
Amazon. Gotta
Right.
go. It's on Amazon for free. So you
Okay.
can go watch it.
Okay. All
If you
right.
have
Sure.
I knew you were
Absolutely.
trying to wrap things up like 10 minutes ago. Maybe
That's
this
okay. That's okay. No worries.
dragging it on.
So, but I always love talking to you.
Yeah, it's always fun, man.
Always a good time. So, but I do have to go because I have to get the lunches over
That's
to my
right.
kids
Go
right now.
go
So
go get some Wendy's.
we'll do, Nate. Hey, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you all for watching. And Let's Talk Music is the new program I have going on right now. And if you're hanged out, if you hung out here long enough, please hit that subscribe button.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. And go over to Nate's on his platforms and everything, and check out his stuff and purchase that concept comic book and album from him. Please.
It's free.
Oh, it's free.
The comic book is.
Well, there
Unless
you go.
want the printed version. The printed version costs money because paper and ink costs
We should
money,
have.
I guess.
I'll be sure to put something in the beginning on that part too, so that people know about that. You know.
Right
So,
on.
well,
Thanks for having me, Andy.
all right, man. Adios, as I always say.
Rock on.
Take care.